We'll start off with pistol optics, and we're going to lay out some pros and cons. So, optics on pistols. One pro that I really like is precision. So imagine this. It's a deadly force encounter that isn't exactly the statistical norm. The statistically most likely scenario for you to be involved in a deadly force encounter is inside of 7 yards. And inside of that 7 yards, a great degree of that happens inside of 3 yards. So we're talking a bad breath distance fight where you can smell what they had for dinner. You know what I mean? So right there, that's statistically most likely. But what about those statistical anomalies where you have to make a very, very precise shot, maybe a farther shot? Maybe you do legitimately have a real justifiable reason to shoot a bad guy at, say, 15 yards, maybe 20 yards. Maybe you have to make a hostage shot, and you have to sneak a bullet in between like a tight space so that like you can neutralize the threat, but also make sure that you don't harm an innocent bystander. Those instances are statistical anomalies, but it is a possibility, right? Just like it's a possibility that there could be a kitchen fire at my home tonight. Anything is possible, and that's why some certain units, like Delta Force, for example, they carry with a pistol optic on their gun. That is just a standard that they do. They've been doing it for years. So some individuals have a very dang good reason to carry with an optic on their pistol. Because what is the primary use case of Delta Force? It is hostage rescue. That is their bread and butter. They are the premier hostage rescue force in the world. So, Delta Force optics on pistols for precision? Sure. I'll give it a pass, right? All right. Another one is target clarity. That was like really bad chicken scratch. My hand is unsupported. Sorry about that. That does say target clarity. So target clarity. Think of it like this. When you are aiming through your iron sights, half of the target is obstructed, right? Now, it's not like the pistol's like right up against your face and you can only see half of the target from the top of the irons up. I look like Wilson from Home Improvement, right? It's not necessarily that, because the pistol, again, is out in front of your face, but you're still obstructing some of that target zone, and especially if you're making more of a longer distance shot, right? It's really tough to do that with precision. Think about, like, I used to deer hunt with iron sights a lot, and the thing that made it tough for doing longer shots is part of the target is obstructed, making it really difficult to have good precision. So target clarity is definitely a pro when it comes to using optics on pistols. Another one is shooting speed. So shooting speed. I think back to the first time I ever shot optics on a pistol. So I was fresh out of the Navy. I was working at a local gun store, and the manager of the store, and he was also my cousin, he was involved in a local IPSC shooting club, which was really fun. I did it for a number of years. It was a good time, good training. It was actually, I take that back, it was good practice. It is not training, it's practice. A great practice. Well, the first time that I ever shot competition was something called a bowling pin challenge, right? Where you just line up a bunch of bowling pins on a table and you just blast away until all the bowling pins fall down. Now, I had already shot a few times with like my personal guns. Like I shot my SIG 226. I shot a 22 caliber pistol, but I didn't do the optics category because I didn't own a pistol with optics. So my cousin was like, hey, use my pistol. And it was like an STI pistol before the transition to staccato. So it was an STI and 38 Super with a Seymour red dot sight on it. It's a race gun, right? There was a race gun category. And I was very familiar shooting with a red dot on a rifle because my service rifle was a Mark 18 Mod 0 with an M68 aim point optic on there. So I'm like, dot, dot, okay. And I know how to shoot a pistol, so let's see what we got here. And I'll never forget, the timer, or the buzzer went off, and I brought that pistol up, and like I cleared the table in seconds, just because it's a lot faster to acquire that dot and kind of track that dot from target to target to target to target. It was just like bam, 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 bam. It was a super flat shooting gun because the compensator. So yay for that. That was a good time. And I actually won I won the open pistol category for that bowling pin challenge with my cousin's gun, and I'd never shot it before. And I did not win any of the categories that I brought my personal guns to that had irons. Just because the combination of the precision and shooting speed that you can get out of a pistol optic is undeniable. But part of the reason why I was able to shoot fast with that particular gun is because it had a compensator which helped keep the barrel very flat. Now, compensators can have some advantages and disadvantages. Maybe I'll make a separate video about compensators in the future, but I would argue that compensators on concealed carry pistols for self-defense probably have more drawbacks than advantages, just because like those compensators throw concussion and spark and like some metallic debris from the bullets stripping through the lands and grooves of the rifling. Some of that copper is going to get like scraped off and ejected out of those ports. So what happens when you're having to shoot up close and personal? You know what I mean? Those comps can be very much a detractor really quick if you're kind of in a grappling type bad breath distance fight. So I'll put compensators aside right now, and I'll bring it back to talking about optics. So shooting speed is definitely a thing. Another one, low light. And I'm going to put a little asterisk there. So optics are huge for shooting low light, right? Because they're battery powered. They create their own light into a little fine aiming point, a little dot, or you have a circle dot, whatever. Maybe you're running a holosun. At any rate, low light is a lot easier to use optics. Now, the reason why I have the asterisk there is there's this thing such as night sights with a tritium ampule in the front sight. So that kind of makes it a wash there, but I'm still going to give the edge to optics because they're just better at shooting at night. Another pro, aging eyes. So just take no offense at this, but going off of the demographics of the people that watch our channel, a lot of the people that watch our channel are like mid 40s and up, right? You know, mid 40s up to like in the 50s and the 60s, etc., maybe even the 70s. And as we get older, our eyesight starts to diminish. And even with glasses, I can't tell you how many times I've ran people through training classes that have glasses on and they're like doing this thing, trying to like get their glasses to focus properly for their front sight. And I don't mean to laugh, I feel bad because they're having to do like this thing, trying to focus on their front sight. An optic really kind of helps take away a lot of that because you can actually dim that optic down just a little bit to have a more refined aiming point, and then when you present your pistol with good training, and especially after hopefully you guys take a class on this, but when you present your pistol, that reticle just kind of appears in front of you, and it's a lot easier to aim even with aging eyes as opposed to trying to deal with front sight post, rear sight, and the target. It really kind of simplifies things. That brings us back to another thing about simplifying things I don't have on the pros and cons, but actually maybe I will. So you have target, front sight, rear sight with irons that you have to align all those things to make sure that you're going to have good shot placement. With an optic, you have reticle and target, like a rifle scope on a deer rifle, right? it just really simplifies that aiming solution. I'm going to put that here. So aim simplicity.